The annual Walk a Mile Inner Shoes event for Gillian's Place returns in just 3 weeks on October 14th. St. Catharines Mayor Mat Siscoe, one of this year's ambassadors, will be teetering and wobbling along like I did last year around the Penn Center. Matt, you started working on your calves yet? That's my recommendation for you.
I've always been blessed with decent calves. I will say you used a couple of examples. I will say embarrassing myself. I will be embarrassing myself, Mike, as I try to go. But yeah, it's I'm excited to be a part of it this year. I've done it in the past. I'll give my annual shout out to the Stiletto Stallions, who were my team in the past. Great group of guys who wanted to come together and do this. We started a number of years ago. I haven't always been able to participate, but I'm excited to be an ambassador this year.
Nicole, we're looking at 293 children and adults stayed at Gillian's Place shelter last year.
Yeah, and really that's just the tip of the iceberg of the folks that we supported in the community. We served another over 2,000 through our outreach services. We answered 10,000 calls and texts on our crisis support line. So it's a pervasive issue in our region. And this is an event that really shines a light on something that's typically kind of kept behind closed doors, and it's also a real opportunity for men to become allies and work toward ending something that's typically, been a women's issue, where women have been doing the work.
And Matt, you have a wife, you have a daughter, so you know how it makes you feel when you hear about gender-based violence.
Yeah, I think it goes broader than that, though. I think it's important to recognize the idea that gender-based violence exists should be offensive to anybody, but for male and male-identifying allies, we have to be a part of this solution. We have to continue to get the word out, and we have to raise money, because the simple reality is, in our community, it's awful that a place like Gillian's Place has to exist, but a place like Gillian's Place has to exist. And so, regardless of your personal circumstance, if you're in one of those categories, male and male-identifying allies, we have to be a part of the solution. So we have to go out and raise money, and that's what this is all about. We also need to make sure that people understand just what an epidemic gender-based violence has become in Canada. We know the statistics are out there. I know from the regional perspective, we're going to be talking about a motion through our council and the Ontario Big City Mayors. We've done the same thing. We've talked about this is an epidemic, and we need more resources within the system from all levels of government to start to deal with it properly.
Nicole, why is it important that it's recognized as an epidemic?
In some ways it's very symbolic, but it lets our community know that this is a serious issue, right? One that requires our collective attention and our collective resources to combat. We see, not only the women who are coming to our doors, but those who aren't able to reach out safely and are losing their lives. In Canada, 1 to 2 women every single week are losing their lives to femicide. In Ontario, in the first half of this year, already more than 42 women have lost their lives to femicide. That's 1 a week in Ontario alone. That's not okay with me, and I'm sure it's not okay with anybody that women are dying because they're women.
Walk a Mile raises money, but it also educates, as you say, and you've also received a grant last year to do some other education. Can you talk about that?
Yeah, so one of the things that we don't receive any funding for is public education and violence prevention, which we know is so important to stop the cycle of violence. Something that really became noticeable to us over the course of the pandemic was just the problematic nature oftentimes that femicide and women's issues are reported in the media. Through Women and Gender Equity Canada, we got a significant grant, and we've been planning over the last several years a program for journalists, students of journalism, and really the broader community.
And it's all about the language that they use and how they refer to some of these
That's a part of it,
incidents.
right? That's a piece of it. The way in which we're framing certain things is really important, because the media, as we know, can really influence public opinion. And so, to frame an act of femicide as maybe a one-off thing when there's been a history of violence, domestic homicide is one of the most preventable crimes that there is, and there are always warning signs. And so it's really important for the media to talk about that history of violence so people can understand what the warning signs look like, and we can prevent these deaths from happening.
Matt, stepping it up this year as the ambassador, what does that mean to you?
It's important for me. You know, we've had interactions with Gillian's place. They've come to council. There's a capital expansion that's going to be ongoing, and we've found a way to be able to support that through the city. I want to be a part of that conversation. I want to help lead the conversation. You know, I'm challenging my council colleagues, both city and regional, to get involved, to raise some money as well, because I want to see us all being a part of that educational process in addition to the dollars. As Nicole said, like, it's important for the community to understand the gravity of the situation, the resources that exist, and how we can help people in our lives that may be facing gender-based violence, how we can help connect them to the services. All of that can happen if we are having the conversation publicly, we're talking about it regularly, and we're not pretending, as has been in the past sometimes, that it's something that happens in the shadows. We can't just pretend that it, you know, we don't see it so it doesn't exist. That's not the case, and we know that's not the case. So I'm excited to be able to help lead that conversation because it's an important one for the community.
$125,000 is the goal this year. You're already halfway there, which is great news.
Yeah.
And how will that money be used?
So one of our most important programs is our legal program. We employ a family law lawyer. And so, you know, when you're contemplating leaving a violent situation, there are many things to consider. Our legal system can be daunting and difficult to navigate. And that program is one completely supported through fundraised dollars. So Walk a Mile supports that. We also, you know, we have to raise $1 million a year to sustain our current operations. We are expanding, and so it's, you know, more important now than ever that, you know, we have that sustainability for our operations as we continue to expand to meet the demand.
October 14th, what time does it start?
Registration begins at 10 a.m. Walk starts promptly at 11.
Nicole, Matt, thanks for joining us. Good luck on those shoes, Matt.
Sincerely appreciate it.
Thank you.